infinite transparent can very well move in an earthly context, and it does not require the annihilation of the earthly as a condition for its own appearance, just as the presence of God revealed itself to Moses in the burning bush, which burned without being consumed.
I am discovering my deeper truth as a flow being in connection with an ultimate body, my ultimate body. I am practicing seeing through the transparency of all finite things to encounter an infinite presence lurking always in the shadows, a purity of light, a wholeness revealed in darkness. As a flow being, I am learning to live in awe before this awesome reality of everything and no thing. I am awakening.
I feel so grateful for my own special chemistry set that I've been given that seemed to be awake to something greater from the beginning. So I feel like I want to be careful not to make assumptions about how we get there or what that is for any individual person.
Mm-hmm.
I want to really respect all of the teachings that would say, stop and look for this right where you are without going to any grand thing.
Awe is the word that comes up for me, just experiential. So first of all, we would probably take it back to the experiential. What is that? What is the experience that we might be either pointing people toward or noticing when it happens? And I think, as human beings, just functionally, we seem to have this capability of having these moments. It doesn't seem to be happening all the time, but we just have these moments where we connect, we kind of recognize the bigger picture, we recognize connections of all things, we recognize our common humanity, we recognize, oh, you're pretty much like me, even though I thought we were really different sorts of people, or whatever that is. And it's more like, okay, it's not so much that we said, okay, we want to have people have an experience of awe. How do we get there? It was more like we found that when we did those things, that often was a result on big levels and little levels. So it could be that, we're in the first round of these simple, what we call babbling. We're doing the very first round, and something happens, between the two of us that was unexpected or had a sense of being profound or whatever, and then to recognize, oh, that's a powerful experience. That's something that we think that human beings seek, and that when they have it, they're healthier. We're all better off, not even just as individual bodies, but the group body and the bigger body. So I would probably take it back to that kind of more experiential. What is the sort of experience? And of course, it would probably be slightly different for different people, both what creates it and how they actually experience. But again, we have this kind of basic idea of what is it when we experience something that's bigger than us, when we sense our connection, and then what's possible when we recognize that. It seems to me that a whole different thing is possible, when we recognize our humanity. And if I can experience it in this group, well, maybe this group over here that I don't think it's possible to have it with, well, maybe it would be possible. So even just the imagination of being able to experience that connection, even though I haven't had it with that group over there, that must do something good for the world.
In the Zen, we see that we are deluded. This is enlightenment. We have to become free even of the Buddha's teaching, even of enlightenment. That is the Buddha's teaching. Three body of Buddhas, Dharma body, manifestation body, or Nirvana Kaya, and Sambhoga Kaya. Nirvana Kaya, or manifestation body, is historical Shakyamuni Buddha as a person. He was born at certain place, at certain time, and lived for a certain period of time, and taught and passed away. So actual person, that is a foundation of Buddhist teaching, that is a starting point. When Shakyamuni passed away, Buddha's student, Buddha's disciple couldn't find the second Buddha because he was so great, so special person. Buddha was one of the three treasures in Buddhism. Without Buddha, there's no Buddhism. So they start to think, what is Buddha? And first he said, that is Dharma. That makes this person into Buddha. It's Dharma, because this person awakened to the Dharma, this person become Buddha. So actual Buddha is not Shakyamuni's 5 skandhas, but what he taught, the reality or the capital D Dharma that Buddha awakened to. And actually that Dharma is real Buddha. So that Dharma never die. Even Shakyamuni as a human being died, that Dharma doesn't die. That is the beginning of the idea of Dharmakaya. So even Rupa body, the body as a 5 skandhas of Shakyamuni Buddha disappeared. This Dharma body never die. That is origin of the idea of Dharmakaya. But that idea grew in the history of Mahayana Buddhism. And that Dharma is not something abstract, but the way things are within this entire world, the entire universe, is Dharma. So actually this entire universe is Dharmakaya Buddha. And they name that Buddha as a Vairochana. Vairochana Buddha means this entire universe itself and the way things are. That is Dharmakaya. And Sambhogakaya is also created by a Mahayana Buddhist. That means not only Shakyamuni Buddha, but there must be many Buddhas in the past and the present and future. And those Buddhas are, Sambhoga means the reward, sometimes translated into English as reward body. That means because of their long practice, as a result or reward of long practice as a bodhisattva, they become Buddha. And Mahayana Buddhists think there are many numberless Buddhas, such Buddhas called Sambhogakaya. For example, Amitabha Buddha. There are many Buddhas in Mahayana Buddhism. All those Buddhas are called Sambhogakaya Buddha. The Buddha who attained Buddhahood as a result of their long practice as a bodhisattva. So that is the origin of the idea of 3 bodies of Buddha. And Dogen says those 3 are actually one. That means Shakyamuni and his teaching and his disciple as a sangha is a manifestation or actualization of absolute Buddha, Dharma and Sangha. That is Dharmakaya. So Dharmakaya is boundless, but Nirmanakaya is a manifestation of that boundless universal Buddha within certain place, within certain time of the human history. So actually Nirmanakaya and some Dharmakaya is one thing. And all those Buddhas as a Sambhogakaya is also a part of this Dharmakaya. So all those 3 Dharma bodies and 3 treasures, Buddha, Dharma and Sangha, are actually one thing. And after Shakyamuni passed away, Buddhist tradition continues. So even Nirmanakaya Buddha disappeared, but still Dharmakaya is continue. And when we practice, within our practice, Buddha Dharmakaya is manifested. That is a very basic belief or faith in Mahayana Buddhism.
Lineage is what perhaps we would call in Christianity the contemplative dimension of the gospel. It's the experience that Christ had of the Father as Abba, that is, the loving God, or the concerned parent. And so it's the tradition in Christianity then that corresponds to the idea of guru is a little different, but also it's also similar in the sense that what is communicated to us through the sacraments and through contemplative prayer is the kingdom of God, that is a state of consciousness, not an institutional or geopolitical entity. It's the experience that Christ had of the ultimate reality as Daddy. The Aramaic word is Abba. And so in the Christian tradition, there are not other gurus, because this guru doesn't die, or he doesn't need a successor. He's risen and glorified, but he does need disciples or channels or people who can pass on the experience in some degree, or raise people to the level in which they can receive it from the Holy Spirit.
If you are a poet, you will see clearly that there is a cloud floating in this sheet of paper. Without the cloud, there will be no rain. Without rain, the trees cannot grow. And without the trees, we cannot make paper. The cloud is essential for the paper to exist. If the cloud is not here, the sheet of paper cannot be here either. So we can say that the cloud and the paper inter-are. Interbeing is a word that is not in the dictionary yet. But if we combine the prefix inter with the verb to be, we have a new verb, interbe. If we look into this sheet of paper even more deeply, we can see the sunshine in it. If the sunshine is not there, the forest cannot grow. In fact, nothing can grow. Even we cannot grow without sunshine. And so we know that the sunshine is also in the sheet of paper. The paper and the sunshine inter-are. And if we continue to look, we can see the logger who cut the tree and brought it to the mill to be transformed into paper. And we see the wheat. We know that the logger cannot exist without his daily bread. And therefore, the wheat that became his bread is also in the sheet of paper. And the logger's father and mother are in it too. When we look in this way, we see that without all of these things, this sheet of paper cannot exist. Looking even more deeply, we can see we are in it too. This is not difficult to see because when we look at the sheet of paper is a part of our perception. Your mind is in here, and mine is also. So, we can say that everything is in here in the sheet of paper. You cannot point out one thing that is not here. Time, space, the earth, the rain, the minerals in the soil, the sunshine, the cloud, the river, the heat, everything coexists with this sheet of paper. This is why I think the word interbe should be in the dictionary. To be is to be interbe. You cannot just be by yourself alone. You have to interbe with every other thing. This sheet of paper is because everything else is. Suppose we try to return one of the elements to its source. Suppose we return the sunshine to the sun. Do you think that this sheet of paper would be possible? No. Without sunshine, nothing can be. And if we return the logger to his mother, then we have no sheet of paper either. The fact is that this sheet of paper is made up only of non-paper elements. And if we return these non-paper elements to their sources, then there can be no paper at all. Without non-paper elements like mind, logger, sunshine, and so on, there will be no paper. As thin as this sheet of paper is, it contains everything in the universe in it.
I am seeing with new eyes an ultimate body to which I forever belong. How do I begin to practice this awakening consciousness, increasingly permeating every moment of my life? The path of the flow being, living in transparency and manifesting this presence, beckons. I am ready to embrace the transpersonal posture. Come practice this posture with me.